Welcome to the DAO Factor. I'm your host, Lisa Yu. I'm a tech investor, entrepreneur, and speaker that got into crypto in 2017. This podcast will cover crypto, DAOs, Web3 communities, and the key leaders behind them. For those who are new to DAOs, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization that's taking the world by storm. Today, I'm super excited to introduce to you our guest, Jack Liang, co-founder of GoldenDAO, a highly engaged, collaborative, and impact-focused community. Their mission is to launch a DAO to collectively advance AAPI solidarity and empowerment through real-world events, gatherings, Web3 infrastructure, and initiatives. Jack, thank you for being on our podcast.
Lisa, I'm so excited to be here and so excited to see you again.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'm curious, what are you most passionate about and what motivates you to wake up every day?
What am I most passionate? I've been asking myself that question lately, just from January till June. It was just nonstop events and working and launching the DAO and then going kind of on a mini tour to promote it.
Yeah.
And then July, like this month, July, I kind of took a step back and was like, what are we trying to solve here, right? What is my intent, right? And ultimately, it's service, right? It's like, okay, there's a real need and there's a real problem in different communities, and the community that I'm trying to solve for right now is the Asian American community. And how can we help? And how can we use the skills that I've accumulated, the resources that I have to make a big impact? So it's something I ask myself every day.
Well, what inspired you to start GoldenDAO with Andrew Yang?
So basically, during the Asian hate stuff that's still happening, I wanted to solve a problem, and one of my solutions was to organize rallies, right? Organize the attention of political leaders, entrepreneurs, people in general, media. And I was looking at what was currently happening. And there were a few people who were organizing, which I didn't fully align with, because I felt like a lot of the things they were sharing and talking about, it to me, it came from a place of trauma. And then there was other groups that were a little bit older, and they had really good information. They seemed like they've been doing it for a long time, but they had trouble kind of just like captivating the youth or just getting a lot of people to attend their events and stuff. So
stirring action is important too.
Yeah, stirring action. It was great that there was action. All right. But I just felt like it wasn't what I would have done. And I really felt moved to take action, because I was like, oh man, like, how can I just sit here and not do anything, right? Because I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I experienced the pain firsthand of racism, of bullying, of being attacked.
Oh, wow. What was your personal experiences like as a child growing up in Brooklyn?
Yeah, it was not easy. It was like most of my life, my head and my mindset was focused on, how do I survive here? And it wasn't focused on like, how do I get the best education? It was, how do I walk home from school with a gang of friends?
Without getting beat up or hurt or attacked?
Yeah. Like it was like, get on the basketball team, join this gang, join this crew. And like, where can I go to school where I have the most protection?
Wow.
That was my life. And a lot of that part of me has impacted my adult life. And I feel like that has kind of, I think childhood memories and experiences impact most people's adult lives. I saw this happening full on. It kind of reminded me of 9/11, when, we were being attacked, and then Muslims and Southeast Asians were being targeted.
Right.
It was triggering for me. And I was like, wow, if I'm having so much trouble managing these emotions and managing how I feel and being triggered, I can only imagine every the Asian Americans in this country, AAPIs,
Yeah.
also getting triggered, right? So I was like, okay, seems like people are in a few states. They're in fear, um, and they feel like no one cares about them, right? There's no belonging. They
Mhm.
might be angry at the tax. The solution I thought of was to organize an event that's so powerful that
Mm.
bring so many influential people out,
Yeah.
and we have cathartic releases. We chant together. We
Yeah.
have performances, so it's also a celebration. We have
We
lion dance.
celebrate our culture and heritage and our
Yeah,
different.
yeah. There's time for like action, right? And there's time like that action can be molded in different ways, right?
Mm.
Um, so yeah, we organized this event. We brought 10,000 people out. It's the largest ever recorded Asian American rally in history. I thought that
Wow.
was the only one, but I
In
guess,
history, how many people showed up and where was it?
well, it was over 10,000 people during the pandemic.
Wow.
March,
During the pandemic.
yeah, it was during the pandemic. There's a lot of risk, right? Because people haven't been out in
Mhm.
years. The businesses, uh, they saw their best day in a few years, and that event kind of just drove a lot of momentum to
Yes.
for other young adults to take action, because every week after that there was a new rally organized by a younger individual that was
Mhm.
taking place. And what happens when people who look like you and I are doing these things that we kind of let our parents handle, people who are older than us handle, is it gives permission for the younger generation to start taking action.
Yes.
The media loves it
100%.
when youth and Gen Z and millennials are standing up and fighting, and we are the generation that can really capture virality and make some real noise. I don't
Yeah.
think
And make a change.
they could change. Yeah. So back to your question, I was doing this, and the money situation started coming into coming to play. Like, hey, how do I pay for all this? And I just paid for it because
Oh,
it
you paid out of pocket a
paid out
lot.
of pocket. I like,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, it was
You cared so much.
time it took to organize, to plan, to get speakers, to worry about safety, to worry about
Mhm. You have to hire security. There's like staff,
everything,
there's
every
logistics,
volunteers, like
food. Yeah.
I mean, 10,000 people. It's 10,000 people.
A lot of people.
I'm not worried about like forking out, money to pay for this thing. I just had to get it done,
Yeah.
at that point.
I
And
see.
then the thinking was like, wow, if other people wanted to organize anything, or they had really good ideas for helping community, how would they do it if they, weren't in a place where they could afford it?
Hmm.
And there was an example of a karate teacher, or I forgot, self-defense teacher, and he wanted to organize events in the park to educate older adults, parents, grandparents, on how to defend themselves. And to get certain space allocation, it cost him like 3 grand. And he applied to these government, I don't know, funds, and it took him 8 months to get 3 grand. And
Oh, wow.
like, man, if it took me 8 months, I wouldn't even have done anything.
Yeah. There
I
would be no action. You would be sitting around and
lost my
waiting for
enthusiasm.
what?
I'm not going to apply and follow up. There's no chance, right? So the
Yeah.
thing was, let's come up with a DAO where a lot of people want to attend, a lot of people want to join. It's cool. There's a lot of value, but this DAO is kind of like that access point for people who are looking to serve the community and don't have a way to tap into funds and resources.
Hmm.
So that's the thinking, right? Like, and
Mm.
and we have to, at first we have to do that by building this really strong community of influential Asians and powerful Asians like yourself, and where people want to come and people are attracted to. And we do it in a few ways, right? We throw a lot of events, and we give back, and
Yeah.
it's
I
that
love that.
that we want to
You
live in. There's nothing
you
else we.
are so good at rallying, bringing people together. I mean, I've seen your background in activism, and you're really passionate. Yeah, you really have a strong, powerful voice.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Lisa. Yeah, it's weird. It comes out of nowhere. I'm like, I think, I tap into like I don't know, something from the past. I don't know. Because you know me, I'm so calm.
You're really calm. Like
Yeah.
when we're having conversations, whether it's one-on-one or in groups, you're so chill. But when you're activating and motivating people, it's like your tiger comes out. It's just something comes out. It's like your voice is amplified.
Yeah, I mean, I pray to, whoever. I'm exhausted during these times, right? I'm like, just like how you're mentioning how you're playing all these events and doing so much in these months. When I plan for a rally, it's like I'm on phone calls, I'm organizing, I'm planning, speaking to people. I'm just up all night thinking about anything that can happen that I haven't thought of. And I'm like in 3 hours of sleep, and I just right before it, I just like, I'm praying like to whoever, to my God, to the universe. I'm like give me the energy to like move these people.
Yeah.
And it comes, it delivers, and it's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a powerful force, and you're such an inspiration for, Asian leaders and Asian Americans and our community. Recently we've seen a rise in Asian hate crime, and walk us through like why that's the case. Maybe touch a little bit on like the history of Asian hate and discrimination, and what can we collectively do to educate the masses and to solve this problem?
Yeah, I think the Asian hate has been happening for since we've moved here, right?
Since immigration.
Yeah, and the thing is, just it's never really been talked about. Camps.
Why is it so taboo? Why don't people just openly talk about it?
The way I see things, it's always our responsibility to speak up for ourselves, and for the most part, we didn't even speak the English language. And then secondary, it's like the countries that we came from. And that's been ingrained in the culture. So when we come to this country, it's like, we can't speak up either. It's also, why does voting matter? It doesn't matter. But people who are born in our generation, it's like, wait a minute, like that's not true at all. And we have to defy that as much as possible. We have to speak up as much as possible. We have to be heard as much as possible. So when you ask the question of how can individuals like contribute, I always say like use the skills that you have and make a difference, right? So my skills, I was working at Instagram on the product team. I knew about tech, knew about Web3, and I knew about events, and because I was doing events for a long time.
And you had that platform. Yeah,
I have a little platform from organizing, and I was like, okay, let's merge the two. Like, looks like it'll work. And then we'll raise these funds and we'll find ways to contribute and give back. So if you're a writer, if you're an artist, you're a photographer, if you're an engineer, whatever, if you're a fitness like whatever, there's
something for everyone. You can enter into Web3 and DAOs just with your talents and your strengths.
Exactly. I mean, I know someone who's a runner and decided to like run like across the country, and the funds were raised to help, like something like that. Like it's
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
like all you have to do is start.
That's it.
Yeah.
Start, and we're, even DAOs, like we started this DAO, we're not going to get everything right. We do a lot of things wrong, and the plan is like, let's just keep on building, like no matter what. It's like any startup. There's going to be a lot of things unexpected, a lot of things you didn't know. But if you do it, you just would never know.
That's a really humble position that you're like, hey, we're all in this together. We're all learning. And frankly, like DAOs are such a new phenomenon. There are now about over like 5,000 DAOs, about over 1 million DAO members. That's still super early. And, everyone is still learning the structure and governance and doing, token issuance. These are all, there's a whole spectrum of ways that you can run a DAO. And just by starting, kudos for starting, first of all, because that's really brave. And, rather than waiting for someone else to take action, you're deciding, well, I'm a leader, I have a voice, I'm going to take action now. So, I'm curious, as you started this DAO, launched a couple months ago, what are some of the values and core tenets of GoldenDAO? And kind of what have you heard from the community? And kind of what are the voices from the community that you would like to amplify?
Yeah, I think what we hear from the community in the beginning is like, in the beginning, it's tough. It's like, hey, what do you guys do? It's a lot of almost unrealistic expectations. It's like, can you do this? Can you do that? Is this
Almost like a list of demands.
it was like, whoa, I don't know what people expect here. And I think as people start to see all the activations that we're accomplishing, all the members that we're attracting, all the good that we were doing, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And I like to tell people like, hey, DAO, we create DAOs for like the long term for any business. It's a 10, 20-year play. It's not like
it's like building a company. Like you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, 10 years short, right? Like, and I think, as long as you continuously build a community, continuously add value, get members involved and give back. I think if we really kind of have that perfect marriage, then we'll get to where we want to be.
Okay. That's really positive. I like that.
Yeah.
And tell us more about your community, the makeup of the community. Is it mostly Asian American? Is it diverse? Is it global? Kind of where you're seeing pockets of people rise up?
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is? There, in Web3 community is like, you might not know half the community because everyone has like a profile picture of an NFT, right?
Yeah. They have like a profile picture of a monkey or a pixelated art.
So then sometimes I'll just go to an event and they'll be, hey, you're from GoldenDAO. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm a GoldenDAO member. I love what you're doing. It's like, oh, it's beautiful. But in the beginning, it's very important who we attract, right? So we looked for a lot of the Asian Americans who were in the Web3 space, and we asked them to join first, like yourself, right? Like the Justin Khans, right? Like the Yatsu, like the Jason Ma's of the world, and like Asian Mom, right? Like these people who have started NFT projects, who are in the space, who are investors in Web3. We asked them to join first and kind of build this with us. And then because of that core infrastructure, we get to attract the people that, align with us and are trying to make a difference, are not here for the short term, not here just to, buy something and flip it. Like that's not exactly what we're talking about at all.
Yeah, I mean, you want to attract people who are in it for the long haul with you, and you're creating alliances and bridges, and you want people who are aligned with your mission and your values.
Totally. Yeah.
How's it been like working with Andrew Yang, political candidate from, this whole journey? And you also have a third co-founder, right?
Yes. So it's me, Andrew Yang, and Theodore Lu. Theodore is actually Andrew's brother-in-law.
Okay.
Who was a former Googler, and it's pretty profound. I mean, I never thought I would work with Andrew Yang. This guy is such a mover and shaker. He's so powerful. His communication, his impact, his mindset is, and I met him when he first decided to run for president. He had like a small little party. Like 50 people showed up, some rooftop at an apartment in New York, and I was just like, man. Someone's like, hey, Andrew, Asian guy is running for president. He's hosting an event. Do you want to come?
Yeah, you're like, wow, I've never seen that before. That's
I was like, wow, that's like incredible. But two, please don't make us look bad.
Yes, it's like, please represent us, in a good light.
Please, yeah. And I heard him speak, and I was like, this guy, like, he has a check. Like, he is, his ideas are captivating, and he knows exactly how to answer these questions. He has a great background, great family. Like, I'm gonna support him, and I did. obviously he didn't win the election, but during the Asian hate stuff, when I was organizing a lot of events, he came to my events without without me really like planning it. Like I asked him to come. He said he couldn't make it, and then he
Oh,
just came last minute. I was like, oh great, we'd love to have you.
oh, great.
Yeah, he was saying like the events that I was organizing was similar to like this presidential rallies that he was like doing.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the energy, and
Yeah, he was probably so impressed that you were able to bring the energy and bring the people.
yeah, and he just cared about the cause too, and it's tough because he's trying to solve a bigger problem of America, but he's always getting pulled into like the Asian American issue, and it's a huge issue, but it's not like the country.
Yeah. What are some problems he's looking to solve in America and also in Asian American culture?
He's trying to start a third party. It's called the Forward Party, which is
Mhm.
absolutely incredible, and he's. I think it's absolutely needed. I think it's going to be tough and really difficult, but if anyone could do it, it's him, and he's already doing it, right? And
Already doing it, already taking the step.
what it kind of reminds me of is like there's like two forces, like in ancient, I don't know, let's say it's ancient China, and then there's like all the smaller tribes that are like battling, right? He's organized all the smaller, you know, parties and combined them and made them the largest. He brought them into Forward Party, made it the largest third party. Talk about like you have the intelligence to do something great, and now you have the courage to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
And he's unifying all these people.
unifying these people. It's incredible. I mean, we spent a lot of time together. I actually went to his place for Thanksgiving, and
Oh,
yeah, we talked about it. His brother brought up the idea of creating like I told his brother about we should create a Asian community.
yeah.
I didn't think Theo was going to bring it up to Andrew. He did.
It
He's like,
literally went from a Thanksgiving dinner conversation to a global DAO and community.
yeah, that's it. And then he named it. Andrew named it. It should be called GoldenDAO.
Golden DAO.
I was like, all right. And at that point, you think he's kind of bullshitting because it's like he's probably, he probably talks to like 100 people and like, offering his help.
Yeah.
He really meant it. And, I had a responsibility. I couldn't like let anything
Right.
happen to it. So
You felt like you wanted to partner with other people who are aligned with your mission that can even amplify not just your voice, but the collective voice of the Asian American Pacific Islander community.
yeah. So, we're still doing it. We're not stopping. We think this is needed, and we see like a future where, GoldenDAO is going to be continuously helping other Asian Web3 founders.
Yes.
And we'll somehow doing that, we'll naturally bring in some sort of currency. And then using that currency, we also have a system where people would be submitting forms on how they can contribute to the community based on XYZ value. And then we as a DAO, we just vote on like these proposals and just give all the money out. And
that's incredible. You
ideally,
get to pay it forward.
pay forward. Ideally, we're not even here. Like I'm not here. Like Theo's not here. Andrew's not here.
Yeah.
It's
You
just
kind of blend into the background as a supporting mechanism.
that's it. That's the power of what DAOs could be. But in the beginning, it's like a baby,
Yeah.
hold a hand and like
You have to
carry.
hold a hand, nurture the people,
Yeah.
get them minted,
Yeah.
with them.
That
Yeah.
events. Eventually, I'm hoping the DAO community has event organizers and has people who manage every little thing. So
A decentralized network of community builders and ralliers and organizers.
exactly. And we're trying to figure that out, right?
Okay.
And we're doing it, right? The team is growing. We're getting more volunteers. Our brand is getting bigger. So I think we're on the right track.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of the benefits of running an organization as a DAO rather than like a nonprofit or a for-profit? Or
Yeah,
it's, of course, you can have a nonprofit DAO or a for-profit DAO. And
totally.
kind of where do you sit in that spectrum?
You know, myself and like Andrew, we're not, obviously we could have started a nonprofit. Um, and we do have a fiscal sponsor like attached to our DAO, but we're quite innovative, right? We want to find the new technology that is advancing the way people come together,
Mm,
advancing technology. And it was pretty obvious that, in my opinion, that nonprofits, and I've donated to a lot of nonprofits, they don't do a good job in bringing community together.
mm,
It's like, here's what we're doing, just give us the money, do it.
right.
Right. So the solution that DAOs solve is there's transparency, right? Where are the funds going,
I
right?
love that. The transparency of where the funds are going, can we just say,
Yeah,
is just so powerful. And that's the biggest reason why people don't enjoy contributing to like charities, because they're like, there's no transparency. I don't know where my money's going. But
right.
with a DAO, everything is on the ledger, everything is transparent.
Right. It's transparent. There's there's community, right? So it's like, who else is contributing to a cause that I care about?
Right.
And it's like,
There's community, there's accountability,
yeah,
there's
it's like
sense of like ownership.
yeah, like it's such a underserved thing. It's like I want to meet people who care about the same cause as me, and I want to hang out with them.
Yeah, of
Like,
course. You want to spend time and share ideas and break bread.
why, like if me and you both care about saving, I don't know, birds, right? It's like, you care about saving birds too? Like, I want to be, now we're automatically going to be friends, right? That's like,
Yeah, we're bonded. Yeah.
we're bonded. We have this mission, right? And nonprofits do a poor job of just bringing that together. And then
Mm,
the third thing is, nonprofits also don't allow people who donated to also help on the projects that they've
and to
done.
have a vote and have a voice.
Yeah, and have a voice on like where funds are going, right?
Yeah.
So when we saw those three things, I was like, yeah, we're trying to solve for that. We're not trying to just take people's money and do our own thing. In the beginning, there's a lot of that, but eventually, it's like, no, man, like let's create a community where we care about it.
Mhm.
Where if little Lisa from Chinatown is trying to organize an event to help her community, she can now tap into GoldenDAO and get funds, and she can get the resources from the GoldenDAO members, right? It's like, hey,
Wow. She gets a whole network of support.
she like, hey, little Lisa's not only looking for funds, but she's looking for a designer or something else. Like, is there a chance that GoldenDAO has somebody who can help?
Yeah,
Probably,
probably.
especially the people who are in Web3 already are so, I think, advanced and so intellectually smart and so tapped in. I just like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the key that we talked about here is community, right? What do you think is the heart of building community, and how have you embodied that?
The thing is, I'm naturally introverted. I like to listen more than I like to speak, right? And I don't always do a good job because I'm always just letting a lot of people speak and do their thing and organize. But I think what I do very well is I pay attention to how people feel.
You
Uh,
do. You're very empathetic.
I try, right? And I just care a lot about what they're going through.
Mhm.
And I think if communities can just understand and care about, or like if community leaders care about their community,
Mhm.
right? Like, that makes a big difference. It's like, hey, this guy cares, like we're trying to do something good.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's one of the keys is just like, giving a shit about the people who are there.
Yeah. I
Um,
think that really shows. I think the reason why people show up and support, your causes is because they can feel like you care about them. And it's
yeah,
mutual. It's like it goes both ways. that the heart of building community is that energetic exchange and connection amongst the people.
Yeah, it's straight from the intention. It's like, hey, we have when I organized my rallies, I didn't even speak until the end. I let people
Mm.
speak first, right?
Wow.
And by that time, half the people were gone. So I don't even need, and I only kind of did that because I want everyone else to speak. But two, everyone at the end, I wanted a chance to just thank them, right? Because they stayed
Yeah.
to the end. So it's like I don't have a desire to put myself on a pedestal. I
Yeah.
really just care.
Yeah.
I think people feel that for the most part, right? And
Yeah.
some people don't, and that's okay. But that's where I come from.
Yeah. I think you truly embody servant leadership.
Thank you.
You lead to serve others. And that's a really beautiful thing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's tough sometimes. It's like, hey, I left my job at Instagram. It's not always
Yeah. You left that cushy tech job to do
uh,
what you're passionate about.
yeah, it's not always easy. It's not always easy. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm trying. I think like everybody else, and we've done a lot of amazing things, and we're going to continue to. So
Yeah. Tell me more about some of these incredible events that you've been hosting. I know you hosted an event at NFT LA, NFT NYC in Miami, across the board. Kind of give us a little snapshot and picture of what it's like to attend a
yeah,
Golden DAO rally and kind of how people can get involved.
yeah, like I mentioned this. We envision like Web3 is about creating new worlds, right?
Yes.
And the only world that I want to live in is a world where I have fun and a world where I give back. Like it's period, right? So
That's
the
amazing.
events are really fun. It's like if I invited 1,000 people to come to an event and I was like, hey, this is going to be a very serious event and we're going to talk about some real, boring things about helping and it's,
Yeah,
human
people will
nature.
check out if it's
They're,
boring.
they're not gonna come. They're just not going to come. But it's like, hey, we're going to have a blast. You're going to meet incredible people.
Yes.
Um, it, there's we usually have alcohol sponsor, and here are the people that are coming to speak.
Yeah.
Just come and network and have a great time. And
Mm,
when you come to the event and you're having a good time, it's like, hey, we're having a good time, but don't forget that there's people suffering. We're here to do good.
for a reason, for a purpose.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's value in coming together and everyone meeting each other and having a great time and just living.
Hmm.
And don't forget here are our updates. Okay, go back to having fun. You
Yeah.
you know, it's like
If you want to create this experience that's memorable, right? They say that most people don't remember exactly like the location of the venue. They remember the people they meet at the event. And when you have a quality of connection and depth of conversation,
hmm,
that is more meaningful than just partying. But you
yeah,
also have to set the ambiance and create this holding space for people to feel comfortable connecting.
yeah. It's like how do you make people feel? That's the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
really great.
we organize fun events and I think I heard this yesterday. I was talking to Matt from 3DGG. Do you know who he is?
No, I don't.
Oh, you got to meet him.
Okay.
Well, and I don't know if he was just biased because he was talking to me, but he was saying like, hey man, like I'm like the people that I met at the GoldenDAO events are by far the most like impactful and well connected and
Yeah.
like fun and friendly people that I've met in any
Mhm.
event,
They're
period.
woke.
Yeah, I mean everyone's doing something. Everyone
Right.
really is doing something.
They're moving, they're shaking, they're
they're
building, they're
yeah,
creating.
they're trying. We're all trying.
Yeah. I love that. How do you plan to empower the next generation of people to have a voice? I'm curious to hear more about how people can vote within the DAO and also how can they feel empowered to rally and create their own events.
I think like not if not all, most nonprofits should become a DAO. And
Wow, that is a big statement right there.
yeah, the thing is, the technology hasn't really caught up, right? Where it is as easy as it seems, right? Getting people to vote on things is not as easy yet,
Mhm.
right? However, we have to compare voting to actual voting in our democracy.
Mhm.
And did you know only less than 10% of people voted for the mayoral campaign in the mayoral election in New York City?
Yeah,
Like less than 10%. I'm talking about like less than 800,000 people voted for the mayor of New
that's
York,
a really small number.
compared to like 8.5 million people in New York City, right?
Yeah.
In New York State.
And you're not getting the full representation if only 10% of people vote.
That's right. So it's if we look at that as our benchmark for
Yeah.
the House, then we're already doing a good job. If
Yes.
we can get more than 10% of people to vote on things, I would say that's already
A
good.
win.
Yeah, compared for just like based on where we are at with the technology, right? And adapt.
Mm.
The challenge right now is getting everyone onto one platform that everyone uses, and then you like let's say we're using Snapshot um, to organize voting, right?
Mhm.
Still difficult because not everyone's always going to be on at the same time.
Right. It's asynchronous.
Yeah, and then having everyone read out the whole exact layout of the proposals, the votes. Honestly, it's me. I'm trying to spend as least time as possible because I'm in other DAOs as well.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to scroll through, read the caption, click, like call it a day. That's my vote. Uh,
Yeah.
so the technology is not there, but I think it will be. I think
Yeah. There's a lot of tools being built right now.
so many tools are backed, and a few of them will be the tools that most DAOs are using, right?
Yeah.
And will probably get the most traction. And we're
Right.
talking to
I mean,
people.
we're in the picks and shovel stage. Those are still being built right now.
Exactly. So, and your question on like how can people speak up more and kind of find their voice
Yeah.
and just find that courage. I think it's like if you really care about something, and like I think I was speaking yesterday to my friend CK, and he
Mhm.
was like, the pain that you experience as a child usually is the problem that you're trying to solve when you're an adult. Right?
Interesting.
So
Yes.
I think
That's deep.
most people really try to do that. It's important to ask ourselves like what the truth is, right? And
Yeah. Like
why.
seek from within. What is that truth that you're trying to bring out into the world?
Yeah, really. It's like because there's always distractions, right? Because people
Mhm.
will always give opportunities and hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? I want
Oh
you
yeah, there's gonna be pulling for your time and
with you.
attention.
And it's like, is this actually me? Is
Yes. Is this authentically me and who I am and why I'm on this earth to do?
why do I care about this? Like, and like even yesterday, I was happy. I was at the Daniel Kang's going away thing, and someone was like, "Hey, you should work with me on my project." And I was like, tell me about the project. And I'm like, I think it'll work. I think it's great that you're putting effort into it, but I just can't care about it. I just don't
Yeah.
care about it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It has to be something you deeply care about.
Yeah,
Mm.
and people feel that, right? If you deeply care about something, people feel it.
Hmm.
They're attracted to it. But if you're just
Yeah.
like doing it because like, hey, this might get you to your next level and stuff, it's like people
Yeah.
do.
But it needs to matter to you. I think people are drawn to people who care.
I hope so. I see a lot of kids nowadays eating at the dinner tables and stuff, and everyone's on their phone and on their iPad, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
They're so disconnected.
it's so disconnected. And you know, I I was able to build this awareness skill just by like being there as a kid and just looking at all the altercations and the beautiful interactions and the laughing and like just observing what's happening around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're definitely a deep observer of
yeah,
people. And
it,
that's how you've created this understanding and care.
I think we need to do a better job for our future to take their phone during the dinner table.
So it starts there. It starts with gathering, community, feeling connected, and caring.
Yeah,
I think the more we care, the more we give, and that attracts the right people. It's kind of a giving loop that
yeah,
keeps going.
I think so. It's given a lot back to me. I,
Yeah,
you asked me the question in the beginning of like purpose, and it's like, what do I wake up every day thinking about? And it's like, how can I serve better every
yeah,
single day? Or else there's nothing worth waking up that's worth it.
yeah, yeah. That's really deep. And we talked about all these tools that are being built, but truly it's the people behind it. It's the genuine connections we build with the community, with shared values and goals and aspirations. And like it's when people come together, the power of the collective is so much stronger than the self.
Yeah, I mean, you can do nothing alone, right? Like
Yeah.
if one person is there rallying, it's like no one, everyone's like that person is crazy, screaming. Like thousands of people there screaming for something and shouting and fighting for something. It's like, wait a minute, what are they fighting for? Why are
Mhm.
they there? What's behind that emotion?
Yeah. The why is super important. I want to hear, like, what is your why personally?
Yeah, my why, at least right now, I think it changes, is I received a lot of help, you know, and some people have received help in terms of business and finance. I received help in healing and
Oh,
finding ways to heal, getting therapy and going to conferences, going to retreats, going to like healing center, like getting all this education on how I can heal some of those wounds that I've had.
yeah.
And yeah, I think the people who need that the most have no access to it,
Oh,
zero
yes.
access to it. Like
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I got to work at Facebook, Instagram, and they had a therapist on site. And I lived in the Bay Area for, almost 3 years. And I got access to the top courses at Stanford on interpersonal dynamics. And
Oh, yeah. I took that class
yeah,
too. The
beautiful.
best.
Yeah, it's like only us get access to that.
That's
And
true.
like, think about the kids I grew up with, the ones who were in gangs, who were incarcerated.
Yeah.
They
They're
don't have,
still healing from their childhood wounds and they didn't have access
they
and
don't
they
even
still haven't done the work.
yeah, they don't have the time, they don't have the resources to realize
Right.
like these things are holding them back and how they're holding them back, and then
Hmm.
passing it down to the next generation. And the thing is, if you tell someone that, they won't receive that information well. It's like you're telling them there's something wrong, or if like they like, who are you to tell them anything? So
Right.
I don't try to tell them that. I find ways to meet them where they're at, and
Yes.
like that might come from a party, that might come from just a hangout, or like or an event that they care about, or a course that they care about, and I just might slip a little bit in there, just a little
Just a
hidden.
little, be a little piece of light to
Little bit,
help them see. Because some of these people just aren't even aware they're in pain. I think,
yeah,
in the Asian American culture, if you don't talk about it, if you don't talk about our pain, then you still feel it, but you're not aware of it. So
right,
there isn't active steps to be able to kind of release that. And
totally,
so I feel like our culture is shifting from a culture of people who are living or suffering in isolation to people who want to be liberated, who want to connect, who want to have a voice. And that's really aligned with the heart of Web3, which is all about collective consciousness, decentralized ownership, where everyone has a vote and everyone has a voice.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's exactly why I love this space, because it's taking power away and taking permission away, right? And
It's
um,
taking power and permission away from the one and putting it in the hands of the many.
and exactly, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
this is so wonderful to just have this deeper conversation with you. What do you see are the long-term goals of Golden DAO? Are you looking to, kind of get more into politics? And also, what are some long-term goals for you?
yeah. I think for GoldenDAO, it's the vision that I mentioned. You know, it's just a machine that is constantly bringing, like, amplifying other projects,
Mm-hmm.
bringing in revenue, and then the other side of the machine is like, and then it's funneling that revenue out, like
Yeah,
giving
giving back.
to community, to people who are organizing, to
Mm,
people who are, like, even have a mental health, like, seminar, whatever it is, right?
mm,
And it's like, oh, what a beautiful world if we could just, if people who wanted to serve were funded, like,
yes.
those people need to get paid, right? Or if
Yeah.
they would stop, they would get sucked back into the,
Would create a way better world.
yeah, people, like, how do we incentivize people who are doing service work or nonprofit work, or social impact DAO work? Like, how do we incentivize them to work for the DAO like we incentivize them to
Mhm.
work at Google?
And get compensated
Yeah,
for their contribution to the community.
exactly. Or, like, if people are trying to solve environmental issues, like, they should be getting paid as much as the engineers at Google. Like, that's what they deserve.
Mm,
People, like, kids should be growing up incentivized to be serving and doing what they care about.
yeah. It sounds like technology and DAOs can now incentivize these collective, creative endeavors.
Yeah,
And we're kind of shifting into this new era.
I'm hoping so. I really hope so. I think this, because culture plays an impact, right? Like, how cool something is and how much money is in that industry. It makes a difference in,
Yeah,
like,
it's a cultural shift for sure.
huge, right? So if we could get that cultural shift in doing good, and
Mm,
Web3 and DAOs can play a part of that, then that's where we go. That's the
yeah,
solution.
I love that. And what's your advice to people who are just getting into Web3, deciding if they should start or join a DAO?
Just join it. Join any of them. Like, join
Just
any
start.
start. Like, I went to my first DAO party thing or event. I went to Friends with Benefits in Miami one time, and I
Yeah.
was so blown away that this community has done, like, organized such an amazing event,
Yeah.
um, and it moved me so much, right? So that was like my first experience with it, and
What is that DAO all about? Just for the listeners here.
the name is very catchy. It's a great name, but I think it started out as, like, designers, creatives, and they kind of created a DAO for themselves. It kind of expanded into a
Mhm.
lot more,
It's like creators that help each other, right?
creators that help each other. It was very similar to, like, I'm like, similar story as, like, Soho House, right? Like, that's
Ah, okay.
whole Web3 Soho House is kind of how I explain it to people.
Yes. Not that kind of friend of benefits.
Yeah, not like a friend, actual, like, Friends with Benefits. It's like a creator, designer
Mhm.
community.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
yeah,
So
I
you
went.
were kind of inspired by joining a DAO and
Yeah,
you're like, whoa, well, I can also create a DAO for the cause that I'm passionate about.
yeah, yeah, and that was just, I just started talking to a lot of people and
Yeah.
making it happen. And you make a lot of mistakes, but that's okay. Like, there will be mistakes, and
Hmm.
just keep on doing it.
It sounds like you're just always learning, always growing.
So,
I want to know, how can people follow Golden DAO and online, on Twitter?
love for people to help and support GoldenDAO as much as possible. Like, so we have, our website is goldendao.xyz. Our Instagram is GoldenDAO. Our Twitter is GoldenDAO XYZ. Um,
Ah,
yeah,
great.
please support us. Reach out, email, whatever you think is best.
Okay. And just some last questions for you. What's a personal motto that you live by or a quote that inspires you?
Personal motto. Yeah, I have so many.
Feel free to
I,
share.
I have, like, so I literally have a phone. I like a list on my phone.
Yes, please read them out to us.
See them all out. I think it's back to kind of what we're saying. Well, I'll change it because I don't want to bore everyone, but it's, it's fully trusting in the process is kind of probably not what people most expected, but like just trusting that all the experiences that you had in the past has made you who you are today, and then will make you who you will be in the future.
Yes.
And I say that, like, giving an example of Steve Jobs, right? Like, he went to design and art school, right? And he never
He didn't
knew.
look like a typical tech founder.
He was like a yogi, he was doing LSD um, and just taking road trips and going to India. And he didn't know that those skills that he learned in India, listening to his intuition, and then he didn't know that the design skills that he picked up in college would now impact like half of America, whoever owns an iPhone and a Mac, right? Like,
Yeah.
he used those skills and created those products. And for me, I was a party promoter for years. That's all I was doing, was organizing parties, college and after college. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it to make some money, pay for tuition, pay my debt.
Yeah.
I didn't know that those skills that I learned from party promoting would contribute to me organizing rallies with tens of thousands of people and all over the country, all over the city. Same skills. Sometimes it's just trusting, even if you're in a weird place, like, don't have a goal, aren't where you want to be. You just gotta trust, right? Because if you don't trust, you're not trusting in God and higher, whatever you believe in. When I say God, you can say the universe, whatever it is, right? If we don't trust God, then it's like, who do we trust?
Yeah.
It's full trust the process.
Yeah. Trust is so important. I mean, that's really the glue behind communities and DAOs and just connection.
Yeah, just
Building that trust.
trust that the things you're doing now, even if you make a mistake, and it's gonna lead you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this was such an incredible conversation, Jack. I feel like we could talk for hours.
Thank you.
But I know we have our day to get to.
Yeah.
And always great to connect with you. Super excited for everything that GoldenDAO is doing. Can't wait to attend the next event.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone follow GoldenDAO on Twitter, on Instagram, online. It's goldendown.xyz. And they're still actively minting. So for those who want to join the community, now is a great time, because they say the best time to get in was yesterday, but the best time to get in is now, today. So Take action, join a DAO, join a community, and would love to welcome you to GoldenDAO.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us this week on season 1 of The DAO Factor. Follow The DAO Factor on Twitter and YouTube to watch videos of our podcast, where we'll be dropping a new video every week featuring key leaders of DAOs, community builders, and leaders in Web3.